recorded the tail end of that.
Oh, welcome.
Happy days.
I wonder.
So we're ready to start?
Yeah.
All right, we're ready to start.
We are ready to start.
So let's start.
Okay. Except that we have to stop because you have Valerie and Bennie living your best life.
Oh, call the cops. There we go. Oh, I could do that. No, I'm going to do it later, though. There's things to do. We have a podcast to record.
Are we still going or what's happening?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wholehearted Living.
With Bennie?
And Valerie.
I thought I would switch it up.
Yeah, nice. I thought I was a little confused. Valerie has a little bit to drink. She's soft, is what she said earlier. She goes, I'm so soft right now.
I didn't mean that.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means at all.
I just meant that I was a little warm.
Okay. But when you said I don't
because
mean
it's
that, I don't
72
know
degrees
that,
in your house.
I don't know what that means. But anyway. Okay. Well, anyway, one of us is sober. One of us is soft.
One of us is not sober. I'm fine.
Oh, God. Monica.
I know. And I don't know why my voice keeps cracking. Like all of a sudden, have you ever noticed Mom, as she got older, she had like a cracky voice sometimes? Yes. Did you notice that about me, huh?
No, yes. I didn't.
You don't notice it?
I don't. Oh, yeah, I guess so. Occasionally, yeah.
So as I'm getting older, I've noticed that my voice does this from time to time. And even Peter will just like, oh, hi, are you trying to be Demi Moore? And I'm like, no, it's just doing this. I don't know why.
Demi Moore, that's funny. And I think it's Demi.
Demi.
But wait a minute. What I don't understand is your mom is 30 years older than you.
But she started doing it a long time ago. So that's why I'm thinking like, is this just a genetic hereditary thing? I don't know. But I'll go with it. I'm fine with it. I just can't sing very well anymore.
Oh, okay.
Anymore, as if I could sing before.
Oh, right. Okay.
Iggy, speaking of singing. Hi,
speaking
Iggy.
of singing, Iggy. Hi, Iggy.
Hello.
How much have you had to drink?
A cup of coffee.
Okay. Are you soft? I don't know what that means. We're just going to talk about it because all I know is that's what my sister said. She goes, I'm not soft.
I don't
I'm
even
warm.
know. I did
that was really weird.
The wrong word.
Yeah, I guess. It's a good thing that you don't do
here's
anything where
the
you
thing,
have to
you
talk
guys,
a lot.
if you aren't aware, we did a podcast just before we did this podcast. We had to do 2 in a row.
Right.
And so I think we're just a little loopy, to be honest with you.
I'm perfectly sane.
You are never perfectly sane.
That's true. Well, because we already did one, we are going to now, I am going to talk a little bit about my summer and just tell you what I'm going to do in the summer.
I can't wait to hear.
Okay. Well, for those of you that don't know, last year, my wife and I, we went on a cruise to go see actually Valerie's daughter on Disney Cruises because she was a performer on the stage, like on the big stage thing. So we wanted to see her. And at the same time, we got to go through Europe. We took my mom. It was a really great trip. But if you remember, we actually talked about this, that we had a 10-hour delay or 12-hour delay. I can't remember, in LA. And then we had a 4-hour delay, Patty, in England on our way home. And the long and the short of it is, we ended up with a significant amount of credit.
I know. See, I wish I would have been delayed.
Yeah. In the moment, you don't. But
I know.
But
you guys had a struggle. I know.
It was not fun. And then I didn't get luggage the whole entire trip. But that's another story. We won't go there. What I am going to say is simply that we have a credit. And so one thing that Patty and I have always wanted to do and we have not done, well, we did it once when we went to Paris. We actually went to a pub in Ireland we had like a 4-hour, 5-hour layover, and we went to a pub and had fish and chips and stuff. But we're going to go to Ireland.
That's so cool. How long are you guys going to go?
A week. We already bought the tickets.
So Peter has always wanted to go to Ireland. I don't care. I shouldn't say I don't care. I'd like to go to Ireland, but obviously he's Irish and would love to go to Ireland.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll just go with you guys.
Yeah, that's great. Well, if you guys don't come, we'll bring some sand back. I don't know. What's interesting is that Ireland is so is pretty small, and so we're able to we're gonna probably, at least at this point, it's just fun to dream, to be honest with you, about everything. So I
think that's okay. Not to stop you in your tracks, but I'm going to. Don't you think part of the anticipation? Okay, here's the thing. I don't like surprises, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
Because part of the whole fun of it all is to anticipate that moment, right? So,
well, do you remember when I invited? I for those of you, so years ago, we now do this family trip to the mountains here in California. We do this family trip, and it started because I did a surprise party for Patty on the weekend of Patty's birthday. And so it was really not intended to become a tradition. It was just, we're inviting people over for Patty's birthday. And then I decided about 3 weeks or a month before, it was somewhere around 2 weeks before the trip, I was like, she's missing out on all the dialogue because we kept on talking about the food and about this and who's showing up when and what are we going to do.
And just the anticipation of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I decided that the surprise was going to be told right here and on the sofa. And
well,
so
and the thing is I had a surprise party. Yeah.
I told you that she knew, and you said, I'm kind of glad you did that because I think she needs to. Yeah.
Exactly. And I had a surprise party, and like I'm doing the emphasis on the wrong word, I guess.
It's okay.
I had a surprise party. And I remember going in and then just like going, oh, yay. And I'm like, wait, so we're not going to dinner? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, right.
Yeah. But part of the fun is anticipating the party.
Right.
So I'm not big into the surprises. I don't.
Right.
I'd rather know.
Okay. I'm so glad everybody's quiet and participating in the podcast.
So I cut you off with the whole Ireland thing, though. That's exciting.
Okay. I'm glad.
That really
so
is
I'm
exciting.
excited about going. We're really super excited about going. We're going to. So we're going to go to Northern Ireland as well. Belfast. That's also where they did Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other show? And Braveheart. So we're gonna go. We're gonna go to that area. We're probably gonna go to Scotland. We're not sure if we're gonna go to Scotland or not. We don't know if we have enough time. We haven't done
Scotland.
it all.
I love the accent there.
I don't know if I do. Have you ever? I mean, it sounds great, but I think it's like a foreign language. It's really hard to understand.
Peter does accents really good, and his grandma was from Scotland, and he does her accent, and it's awesome. I love it.
Well, I agree that I like hearing it, but I will say I had a friend from Liverpool, and obviously that's England, but I had a friend from Liverpool.
Sometimes it's so thick.
And it's so thick that it's like, I remember I had translated for him a lot of times. People couldn't understand what he was saying. Yeah. For some reason, I could understand him.
I like the Irish accent, but there's something about that Scottish that it just, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I wouldn't even try because,
I can't do accents. If somebody said, I'll give you $1 million to do a Scottish accent, I would go,
okay, do it right now. Go.
I can't do that.
He's Scottish German. I can't do that.
I swear I'm so bad. I can't even do
it's okay. You just
a Spanish accent, and I'm Hispanic. I can't.
Yeah, that's so funny. Well, I will say that we are looking forward to it. So we're gonna go to the Cliffs of Insanity, which is a Princess Bride reference. Those are what are they called? The Cliffs of Moors, or more. And then, so also we're going to go to Galway and places where Ed Sheeran talks about in his songs. So not that, I don't know.
Is Ed Sheeran Irish? Oh, duh, right?
No, he's English, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
He's English, pretty sure.
Because God dang, if you look at him, he actually does look Irish.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Are you sure he's not Irish? Actually, I don't know. I don't think he is, though. I think he's British. I think he's English. Yeah.
Okay.
That's another story, isn't it? Okay, folks. Well, here we are. We are still in The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. We just last week, if you were listening, did Guidepost number 6, which was... Is
that it?
I don't know. Yeah, 6.
Cultivating creativity, letting go of comparison. God, we really didn't dig into a lot of that, but that was a good chapter.
It was a good chapter. And folks, if you're reading with us, these are pretty short, by the way, chapters, that is. So encourage you to read the book if you haven't.
And if you look, and like we said in the last Guidepost podcast, if you listen to the title here, Cultivating Creativity, Letting Go of Comparison, I remember when I read it, I thought, I don't know how it even correlates.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to relate.
But it does.
Totally.
It's so go back and listen to our podcast.
Yeah, because it really is a big deal how it, in fact, the fact that we we do compare ourselves, and that's the reason why so often we don't think we're artistic or whatever. But let's get to the root of it, though. The root of this and why these guideposts exist is because we're trying to live a wholehearted life, and often what prevents us from doing that is shame and not living our authentic self. And so Brene, and you mentioned this in the last podcast quite well, is a researcher, and so she does not give us these guideposts as theory. She's giving us these guideposts based on evidence of people who live authentically and wholeheartedly and are joyful and all the things that all of us want. And she evaluated all of the different things that they do and have, etc., all those kind of mindsets, and these are the things that came out of it. So guidepost number 7 is
cultivating play and rest, letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol. I'm going to say that again. Letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth. And the reason that I...
that person agreed with us.
And the reason that I emphasize that or read it again is because there was a day, and I'm not going to lie, that
Don't lie.
I won't.
Okay.
There was a day that I was very proud of the fact that I was so exhausted because I did so much.
Yeah.
And I took pride in like the fact that I was constantly busy and constantly doing things and constantly exhausted, and took pride in saying, well, this is what I did. And I had to list everything I did in the day, and I never sat down. And it took a lot of years, because I'm a type A, to say, it's okay to sit down. It's okay to put things on the back burner. It's okay to rest. And so
not only that, I would say it's unhealthy.
It's
like,
imperative.
It's like, yeah. I mean, there's a classic, Brene, and I actually can't remember if it's in this book or if it's something else that I read with her, but she was talking about how people did she do this in this book? She talked about how there were lawyers in an elevator, and they were discussing how they go, when was the last time you slept? Oh man, I haven't seen my bed for, X amount of days. And they were bragging about it. Like, it's like the person who could be away from sleep the longest is like, you're that much, quote unquote, I don't know if the right word is
bragging.
better.
I only got a few hours sleep last night.
It's like I and part of it probably is a sense of, the machine doesn't work without me. So there's a sense of my essence is necessary for things to take place. And I would say, well, then you really are a horrible leader, because it should be able to work without you. Yeah, you should be able to do stuff. But it is very interesting how it's possible for people to look at being tired, look at having that mindset of I'm constantly busy, and we do that to our kids. If you think about it, we do it to our kids. We didn't necessarily, I mean, I think we did it, we kept our kids involved in things, but it's fascinating how nowadays people will involve their kids in a sport, as well as doing an instrument, as well as going to tutoring, as well as doing an extra class, as well as doing this. And they kind of pride themselves on, look at how busy my kids are. Look how great it is. And it's like, in the meantime, they're dying.
Well, and another, you take just the fact that they don't have any downtime or rest time. Where's their playtime?
Where is it?
The playtime, like the literal, not just because you're on a soccer field playing, but you just have the downtime to go outside and ride the swing. Or do people do that anymore?
I don't know. Do they call it ride it?
Ride the swing.
Hey,
ride a bike. Play with the neighborhood kids. And I think that's why I like this guidepost, because she talked about play, not just resting, but in encouraging playtime.
Yeah.
However that looks to you. Playtime for me would be saying, okay, let's drop everything, Peter. Let's go down to the beach for a beach walk. You know what I mean? Like, or something like that,
Right. And I could identify with the fact that, when Brene was writing it, or when I read this, she was talking about how she couldn't even figure out what play was when she saw it. She was like, I don't understand. And I love this line where she says, all I notice is that these wholehearted people fool around a lot. Like, and she kind of laughed. The person laughed who she said that to. And fool around? How? She goes, I don't know. I don't understand it. And I'm not going to get all into it. But the point is that it was so foreign to her to see these people who live wholeheartedly and how they just enjoy. It's like I'm gonna
almost
say
like
they,
a haphazard living, or
yeah,
like a scattered.
they enjoy
yeah,
life.
Yeah.
They enjoy things. There isn't necessarily a well, and this is what she goes on to say is like there's no purpose to it. The purpose is I'm just having a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like I'm like you said, soccer. Now you can have a good time playing soccer.
But I'm just saying, like, if you put your kids in the sport as a
discipline and a way to learn a team.
And that's fine. You definitely can have fun. I love soccer, but just the genuine playtime where there's not a real reason for you to do it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, you're just getting together with. I mean, this is why the pickup games are so fun for a lot of people. Those kind of things, because it's like I'm choosing this.
Yes.
It's just, and in the end, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not trying to win anything. It's like, I mean,
there's no trophy at the end of the day.
Right.
I mean, it's
the only trophy is strokes on the back saying, "Hey, nice job."
Yeah.
Good game or whatever.
But the part that resonated with me the most was understanding that you need the rest time, and that took a long time for me. And I remember, this is going to sound so bad, but I remember actually like. I would actually sit down, and then if somebody called or if Peter came home, or I don't even know if it was in my life with Peter, to be honest, it could have been with Rob. I don't know. But I just remember jumping up like, oh, I can't be sitting down on the job, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I always had to look like I was busy, and I took pride.
I think we grew up that way though.
Do you think so?
Well, because you think about it, I remember when the garage door would open up, I went into panic mode to make sure that all the chores were done exactly right, that shoes were in the right place, everything.
The newspapers were stacked.
And it really felt awkward that if we weren't, it just felt like, no, you have to be doing. You have to be doing. You have to be achieving. We have to be doing something all the time. And so I think that was somewhat ingrained in us. And our dad worked long hours. He's gone by, well, of course, he was on the freeway for 10 of those hours days. But I mean, that's not true for anybody really. but I mean. He left at 7:30 in the morning or whatever, and came home at 7:30. I remember frequently saying, "Is Dad coming home tonight?" Which didn't imply he didn't. He would come home every night,
went to bed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was like even when he came home before we went to bed, it was still 7:30 or 8. It wasn't like he was coming home at 5.
Yeah.
Although he did make baseball games and stuff like that. He always made a way to make that happen. But when it came to work. He was working late, and I think he learned that. I'll never forget an interview with President Clinton, and somebody asked him how much sleep he needs, and I kind of laughed. Don't get me wrong, President Clinton is wicked smart. Okay, way smarter than me, and has achieved way more than probably I will ever achieve. But I remember somebody asking him how much he sleeps, and he goes, 4 hours. I need about 4 hours. And at the time that he said this, I don't know if you remember looking at him during his presidency. That man looked like he was dead. I mean, he was so.
You need more sleep.
Yes, exactly. I mean, his eyeballs were just drooping. He looks better now in terms of rested. Now, granted, I think every president after their 4 years, they look different. They look so very different.
For sure.
I
agree.
I can't even imagine what they're going through.
Yeah.
But what I will say is it was interesting to hear him say, yeah, I only need 4 hours sleep. And I was thinking, dude, you think you're existing on 4 hours of sleep and adrenaline is keeping you. But after these 8 years are done, you're probably going to convalesce for a while. Now, granted, he's still achieved a lot.
But do you even think about yourself? Like there's nights that I don't get a lot of sleep for whatever reason. And the next day, if you look in the mirror, you're like, I don't look like I did yesterday. Like you just even within a night of not having sufficient sleep.
I do not do well without sleep. So I'm a person who I wake up ridiculously early. So 4:45, something like that. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I go to bed early. So, I mean, I get anywhere between 7 and 8 hours. And if I get consistently 7, that means on the weekend I'm taking a nap because even 7 isn't good enough for me. So I would say 7.5, I'm usually feel pretty good. And then at 8, I'm in heaven. But I don't always get 8 just simply because we don't go to bed early enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I go to bed early. And so people always say, how do you get up that early? I go to bed early.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, how do you go to bed early? I go, because I wake up early.
Well, no, that's true. Like somebody I talked to at work goes to bed at 2. And she goes, well, because after the kids go to bed, I do this, that, and the other. And I'm like,
I don't understand
I'm up
it.
like just a couple hours after you go to bed. Like that's just crazy,
Right.
you know?
Well, and the point that I'm making is that regardless of, I mean, people will talk about, oh, I'm more productive at night. And I don't know if that's true. Well, I'm going to say I don't think it is, because statistically, the people that get a lot done, if you ask them what time they wake up, almost without fail, they all get up early.
Well, if you talk about your circadian rhythm, and I know I'm very into like health and wellness.
Circadian rhythm.
You know that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I was thinking about it.
Our circadian rhythm is you wake up when the sun comes up and you go down when the sun goes down. So, and go to bed when the sun goes down. If you do that, I mean, and this goes back to like, you know, real caveman days when we didn't have electricity to put the lights on and stuff like that. They worked during daylight hours, and then they slept when it was dark. And our bodies naturally are supposed to follow that rhythm. It's just how our bodies work. And that's why when the sun comes up and you got the sunrise and the orange, and then you want that light first thing in the morning. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, people laugh because I'll say to them, I honestly, if I wake up and there's light in the window, I feel like I slept in.
Yeah,
like I'm like, oh my goodness. Cause I pretty much never wake up.
I don't, I wake up in the dark, but again, I go to bed earlier, you know, but ideally, if you could do this, you should go to bed soon after the sun goes down, and you should be blocking out the lights and all the blue light, especially, and then waking up when the sun comes up. And so, but we don't all do that.
No.
But to say that you're but the fact to say that you're more productive at night is kind of, it goes against the grain of what our bodies are naturally inclined to do.
Well, and what I find is, so because I get up early and people wonder, what in the world are you doing? So, I mean, literally, because there's nothing going on, I can do all my email, I can do all my stuff like that. I can get through all that kind of stuff really, really fast. I send out the emails that need to be sent out. I usually read a boatload in the morning. I go for a 35-minute walk, and I come back and it's 7:00. I mean, or 6:30 or something like that. And so I've already done a boatload in 2 hours.
Right.
Versus what I think happens for a lot of people at midnight is you're watching movies and Netflix.
Yeah.
So I can't do that. Do you realize that we're not even talking about fun at all? We're really probably boring people to death, and they got to get up early in the morning.
Okay, so if we cultivate play and rest in a nutshell, you will definitely live healthier lifestyle.
Yeah, I love this line right here. She ends up studying some guy, I forgot his name. It's Brown. I can't remember his first name. Where is it? Dr. Stuart Brown. And asks him what is play. And what I love is what he says at one point is, the opposite of play is not work. The opposite of play is depression. So that is fascinating to me, because I think it's very easy to say, well, the opposite of play is obviously working. So I'm constantly working. And he's saying, nope.
No.
The opposite of it is depression.
Right.
You're going to end up being depressed when we don't have play, when we don't take that time in rest and doing something. So it's not about not doing anything necessarily, but it's something that you're not necessarily trying to achieve some kind of goal or anything like that. You're literally just having fun. That's
and I think it needs to be said, because of today's day and age, it doesn't mean dropping work to sit on your phone and scroll social media for 2 hours.
No.
I mean, it's legit play. Like, get out and enjoy life somehow, some way. It doesn't have to cost money either.
And it kind of goes back to last week, because see, whether we know this or not on our phones, if you're on phone and you're doing Instagram and you're doing Facebook and you're doing TikTok and all those things, what's really happening there, whether you know it or not, is the computers, the algorithms are keeping you focused, and it's actually numbing your brain. Your brain is actually not being as active as you think it is. And that's the reason why we just keep scrolling and we keep looking at the next one. And it's hard to stop, because we get FOMO, like, oh, what's that one going to be? What's that one going to be? And the point of play is saying, no, we're actually going to engage those other parts of the brain that don't get worked out when we're working and when we're doing other stuff like that.
I think today with all that, it's dumbing down. I really do. I think it's dumbing. And I say that because it's such an instant gratification that when you have to say to your kids or somebody, because I work in an elementary school, find something to do, they're like, it's boring. Well, there's no instant gratification to go try and play handball with a friend. It's like, like I want this stuff to be in my face constantly, and
Right.
It's kind of sad.
It is sad, and what's sad about it is that I fall into it, man.
I know.
It's crazy because I
definitely...
can look at it. I look at it and I think, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I put a timer on my thing to say I can only look at for a certain amount of time, but I kind of need it to be passcoded by my wife because I can't tell you how many times I go, screw that limit, and I just go and I just push it again to say.
You want to know what's so funny that you're talking about this? There was a science fair at school today, or it was. I guess it was. Last night.
Okay.
And so the students had to present it to the classroom today, and I got to see some of the students' science fair projects. One of the kids did blue light glasses. He took a pair of blue light glasses, and he goes, you should be using this when you're on your computer, but my invention is to put a timer on the glasses. So as soon as the timer goes off, it shuts your computer off.
Wow.
And or your device, whatever it is, you're looking at it from the blue. So now you're protecting your eyes using the blue light and then this timer. And I was like, that is fascinating. You really should invent that. And every single person should own that. Yeah.
Well, I have it on my phone to say, I can't look at Instagram or Facebook. Those are the two I really use. Yeah. More than, I don't remember how long. And
then the alarm comes on.
And the alarm comes off and I'm like, well, I'm going to the bathroom. I'll just do it right now. Sorry. How many of you use Instagram?
I put my phone in the other room now. I just go, okay, and done tonight. It goes, and I put it in the back.
I think the real sad thing is, which I have to admit that I'm guilty of at times, but we get together, the six of us get together and we play games often on the weekends. I mean, football season's over, go Chiefs. And but we'll play claims, and we'll play cards, or we'll play anything, right? And what's fascinating is how easy it is to be playing a game, quote unquote, and then you're still fiddling with your phone. You're still looking. And and then what's weird is there's a break, right? And then you look around. There's a break for whatever reason. Somebody went to the bathroom, so you can't keep playing or something like that. And what happens? You look around.
Everybody picked up their phone.
Everybody's on their phone.
Yeah.
Including me. Yeah. So I'm not throwing anybody under the bus.
Or you can even just I mean, it's true that you're playing with a bunch of friends, or and you pick up your phone to take a picture of it and post it on Instagram, and the next thing you're like, oh, well, what's this?
Yes,
and
exactly.
so it could be an innocent thing, and then it turns into something else
because of the way they do it. Yeah, it's so funny. I did hear of somebody. I saw this on Facebook. I saw this on Facebook, but this guy goes, when you have your phone, he goes, it's not, he goes, some people will look at it and they'll go, hey, I'm the greatest person in the world. And they face it down,
right? We talked about
as
that.
if that's going to be the greatest thing in the world. And he's like, dude, that's not it. The real thing is, and I actually heard of this person. I think it was a podcast I listened to. I can't remember, but what they did for a party is, when you walked in, you had to put your phone in a bag.
Yeah.
And it was a way to make everybody just engage each other.
Be in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, that's interesting. I'm going to require that for our family.
Good luck.
Which essentially means nobody's coming over anymore. No, I'm kidding. But I found this to be a very interesting, just simply because it is so friggin'.
And I've talked to many people that have said, and again, just the whole rest thing. They pride themselves on being exhausted because they do so much, and it's like, and that's great, but honestly, you need to prioritize play and rest.
Yeah.
100%.
We briefly talked about sleep, but I'm going to say something that she read. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, it says insufficient sleep is associated with a number of chronic diseases and conditions such as, imagine this, diabetes, heart disease, obesity, and depression. And it is fascinating with me because depression, it's interesting how you can ask somebody how much they sleep. And there's two things that happen. Either they're not getting any, or all they do is sleep. It's one or the other. And so it's fascinating how that works out. But the idea here is, and one of the things that she says is, people think, I'll do it later. You know, I need one more. I love what she says. One more hour of work. You know, I can catch up when I sleep on this weekend, or you know what? I'm not gonna sleep at all Monday through Friday, but then I'm gonna nap on the weekend. Or some people have a totally different mindset, which is napping is weak. You know, if I'm napping, like you said earlier, when you're sitting on the couch and then you feel like, oh, what happened? And so you know, I can't be sitting on the ground, on the couch. And then the biggest one is probably just push through it, man. You can handle it. And the truth is that what she is saying is no, your body.
No, and if you feel like you can just catch up on it, honestly, you guys, I'm saying this wholeheartedly. Everything has to be done in a consistent manner. Whether you're going to work out consistently, you can't just work out on the weekend and then say, I want these results, and then not go back and work out for another 3 months. I feel like the same thing goes with sleep. Like if you want to feel good and be able to have a healthy lifestyle, you definitely need to sleep consistently. It's not about sleeping 3 or 4 hours during the week and then catching up 12 to 15 hours on the weekend. It's just not healthy. And if you think about the times that your resistance runs low, it is usually because you're tired, your lack of sleep. And I remember Mom even saying this when I was younger and going to sleepovers or whatever, and I would get sick like a couple days later. She goes, well, there you go. That happens every time you go to a sleepover. Your resistance runs low and you pick up whatever's going around. And so it has a lot to do with health and wellness by sleep. And I know I always take it in that direction. I know that's not what this guidepost is actually about, but
yeah, because the guidepost is about the fact that sleep is definitely a part of it, but I should say rest is a part of it. Sleep is a significant contributor to that, but part of rest is not, I guess rest can be an intentional watching of a movie.
Sure.
But if you're just putting Netflix on, it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. That's no different than Instagram. So the real thing is like, okay, what are we doing for intentional, time of fun for whatever that might be? So I don't know what that looks like for every single person. I know for me, I thoroughly enjoy when we're together on the weekends and we play some kind of game and we hang out. And I'll be honest with you, there are times when I just feel like, I don't know that I could afford to do this. And then I just kind of remember what I mean by that is because of everything that I'm trying to do. Yeah. It's, I don't know if I could afford to do it. It's likewise with working out. I mean, I can't tell you how many times it's like, do I really have time to work out? And I have, I've been doing it so long now that for me, it's I can't afford not to do it. If I don't do it, it's
that's a playtime for me, to be honest.
It is for me too. Yeah, because it's free. Sometimes I have to read during it, so I'll put things to read because I need to finish reading. But often, especially if I've had a really good day of producing a lot of stuff, then I change it to a podcast, and usually a fun podcast, and it's just something that would be. That would just make me, feel happy, quite frankly, but it's a way to just get loose and get free. Yeah. I just don't think that people need to wear the badge of honor that I'm so exhausted because I do so much. It's not healthy to feel that way. Yeah. It would be a great thing if you could change your paradigm and say, you know what, I'm actually so healthy that I get time to, I make time to play. I make time to rest. I make time to be with my family because I think that often includes your friends and your family. So many people that I know with life coaching stuff that are like, I want more time for this and that and the other. And it comes down to, well, then what are your values and what are your priorities and what's your mission and how are you really spending your day? Right. And if it's not about those things, then you're never going to achieve it. Right. So make it a priority. Yeah, for sure. Well, there you go, folks. Go to bed. Get some rest. Get some rest. Okay. Iggy, did we say hi to you this podcast? I don't even remember. Yes. Okay. Oh, hi, Iggy. Okay. Bye, hello. Iggy. Okay. Let's start over. Okay. Yeah, exactly. All right, folks. Well, get deliberate. One of the best things that we've ever done in our family, this is what she's saying, is making the ingredients of joy and meaning list. I encourage you to sit down and make a list of specific conditions that are in place when everything feels good in your life. Then check that list against your to-do list and your to accomplish list. It might surprise you. And then she says, get inspired. I'm continually inspired by Stuart Brown's work on play and Daniel Pink's book, A Whole New Mind.
if you want to learn more about the importance of play and rest, read these books. Oh, so I think I might grab those books too.
Yeah, and we'll put them inside the we'll put a link inside the
notes.
Inside the notes, right? And get going. Say no today, buck the system, take something off your list, and take a nap. So there you
it's
have
so
it.
hard to say no sometimes.
Yeah, it is. No, but every time you say yes to something, I promise you're saying no to something else.
To yourself, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
So that's the gifts of imperfection, guidepost number 7. Next week, guidepost number 8, cultivating calm and stillness. So we'll be talking about that. So there you go.
Letting go of anxiety as a lifestyle.
Oh,
ooh,
nice.
Anxiety as a lifestyle. That's interesting.
So we will, if you would like to join us in reading it, encourage you to do that. We would love to hear from you. Please let us know in Instagram if you'd like us to do when we're done with this guidepost, which there are 3 more after this week. And so we would love to hear anything that you would like us to talk about. And I am at Bennie Gonzalez. No, just Bennie Gonzalez on Instagram.
And I'm at A Daily Dose of Cocoa.
Yes.
And yes, please feel free to message us or drop a comment and let us know if there's something that you want us to chat about.
Yep. So we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube. Check, subscribe, and write any comments that you can. That's really super helpful for us. Thank you, Iggy, for keeping our sound in check. Sorry about the coughing, folks, and getting over a cough. But so thank you, sir. Vogue.
Just kidding. Okay. All right, you guys have a good week.
Have a great week.
Bye.
Ciao.